Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
So today we are going to talk about why the social structure causes dissatisfaction. Are you happy today with the social structure? Do you think that the situation that we have in Brazil and in the world is good, and you're happy with how much you earn in your company? You're happy with everything that is going around?
Yes, and also a good question would be, do you know why you are dissatisfied? Do you know why you are unhappy? So this is a very difficult, let's say, question to try to understand why we are unhappy, why we are dissatisfied. And the subject we are going to talk about today is one of the main causes of your dissatisfaction.
So it's important that you know that the lecture today is based on the book Liberation of the People, The Pathology of Power. This book was written in 1986 and published in 1987, and Dr. Keppe in this book made a thorough analysis of society and why society is so sick today.
So we have this slide here of the first subject is a text from the book The Liberation of the People, The Pathology of Power, and it's an examination of power. This time, do you want me to read?
Yeah, you want to read?
I read and then you talk about it. Okay, so the purpose of this book is to try to make the people conscious of the fact that they are dominated by individuals who are sick, paranoid, cowardly, and corrupt. This is the right moment for us to free ourselves from the demons who exploit us. We have come to a point in time when the constituted powers are weakening, when those who retain them are at a loss to know what to do to continue dominating and exploiting the people and preventing civilization from improving.
So what does he want to say with this? That in general, when we talk about power, we have this idea that power is the political power. People that are in Brasilia, here in Brazil, or in Washington in the United States. So those are the people that really have the power. But when he talks about power, he's talking about the economic power. And the economic power is not this power that that we have, for example, money. We need money, and industry. We need industry. We need commerce. We need industry. We need this.
This is part of society, right?
This is part of our societies. But he's talking about those people that we don't know who they are. They are behind everything. They control everything, and they have so much power and money that we cannot even think about it.
But do you think, Pérsio, that the people in general, I don't know, maybe nowadays people are starting to conscientize this better, but still a lot of people believe that if this individual holds power, or economic power, or sometimes even political power, is because he is more sane, or because he's smarter, or he is there, so we should trust him. So Dr. Keppe is the first psychoanalyst who has specifically treated this question of the pathology of power, of the economic power of those people who are in power. And after, this was what, 1984, 1985, and since then other people are taking this matter more seriously, right? That he mentions here. These individuals are sick, paranoid, cowards, and corrupt. But most of the people still believe in them, in the sense that if they are there, it's because they are better fit to be there. But this is not always so. And this is what you have just said. The majority of those people who hold power, who dominate us, who build society, we don't even know who they are, right?
And it's interesting. I was watching a little interview on CNN, American CNN, and they were talking about Oxfam. You know Oxfam? Yeah. Oxfam is an NGO, American NGO, that talks about, they make a poll all over the world to see who, you know, how much money people have, and you know, poverty and everything like this. And then I was comparing the Oxfam research on 2014 and the Oxfam research last year. So in 2014, there were 86 people that had more than 50% wealth in the world. So 86 people had more money than 50% of the population of the world, than 3.5 billion people. In 2015, 80 people. Last year, 26 people.
So, the globalization, this idea of a globalized or universal world, especially globalization. So what was the intent behind this in practice as a result? Is it to spread wealth, to divide, to share the wealth of the nations in a more equal, civilized, or to help especially the people, the citizens? Or the opposite happened? Because maybe 20 years ago, when people were talking about trying to make the world a better place, or the European community having a global economy so the wealth would reach everyone. So that's the idea, right? To have wealth and then share this wealth amongst the people. And this is a big challenge, but what is happening is that even though we have been close together with technology and also with these political decisions of like the European community, but in practice, this wealth, has it reached its purpose, which is the people?
Yeah, the thing is that we make a confusion, because money is not wrong and it's not bad. We need money. We need money for everything. We need money to survive. We need money to live. We need money to eat. We need money. But when our concept of money is one, but the powerful people concept of money is completely different from our concept. They don't want money to have a good life. They don't want money to have a good house to live, or to travel, or to buy good clothes. No, they want money to keep in their bank account. Don't use it, yes, and don't let anybody use it.
So they are concentrating money and wealth in the hands of a few, and the other people, I mean the rest of the population, which is 99%, I mean, the wealth is not for them. And I think, this is my personal belief, that the powerful people, wherever they are, economically, politically, they think that the people are a problem. I mean, look at these people. Look at these people around the world. They are so stupid. They don't know how to find work. They are causing problems to the planet. They see our representatives and the powerful people see in the population, and people in general, a big problem. They don't look at the population, the people, with eyes of affection or wanting to help or wanting to coordinate a better world. They think that the human beings are maybe disposable.
And why do we feel bad? I mean, why do we feel dissatisfied?
Back to our...
Yeah, because our society was not made for us.
Yes.
The society was not made for us to be happy. The society was made and is kept by a few people that want to make a good society for them.
Yes, for them.
So if they live in a neighborhood, or if they live in a house that is good, and it's okay. If around the house there is a lot of poor people, and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Because they can go to good places where they have everything that they need. But if the rest of the population is dying, it's not a big problem.
No, it's not a big problem at all. And this dissatisfaction that you're feeling, that we all feel in relation to what we expect from our lives in society, you see, the human being, he was created to live in a society. We cannot live alone, isolated. We must live in a society. So society itself, it's good, beautiful, and true. But the way it is organized is like it needs to be in harmony, a match between society and the people. But we are suffering, we are feeling dissatisfaction because the structure that has been organized by a few, it is not according to the nature of the people, but against the people. And this is a big inversion that must be conscientized, because the laws, the structure of society itself, especially nowadays, has no interest in protecting this harmony and this, let's say, this bond between the people and society. It only protects the interest of a few, right?
And exactly, and that's why we feel so bad. But when Dr. Keppe talks about power, we have this idea, oh, okay, so they are sick, they are paranoid, they are coward, corrupt, but
yes.
we are not.
We are not, yeah.
We are good, we are good people trying, well, most of the population is, but each one of us, we have also this aspects inside of us.
Yeah, so we ask ourselves, how come we have millions, billions of people who accept this, let's say, the way the society has been organized? Why do the majority of the people accept this? Because in some ways, it's unconscious. People do not perceive this, but they identify themselves with these ideas, with the powerful people. So they are not doing anything because deep inside they agree with these things.
They admire.
They admire.
They admire these people because they believe that these people are intelligent.
Yes.
They are good. They don't see their problems.
Yes.
They see.
That goes to the idea of the inversion again, right, Pérsio? So the human beings think that being powerful, but not the power in a bad way, right? This is good. The way the powerful people are, untouchables. This is good. This is power. And not to see that the power is not something that is given by the law, authority, or power to do something. This is not the real power. But people like this. They have this idea that if we have power, if we have money to control people, this is good, right? So this is the inversion. We see in power something really beneficial, and that we see in freedom a problem. So this is why this happens, that so many people allow this situation to go on and on. So they say, oh, there's a lot of good people allowing the situation to perpetuate itself indefinitely. Why? Because they identify themselves with this idea.
And it's so clear this, because, for example, what are the magazines and the TV programs that people watch the most? Are those the news?
The good news, right?
Or do you think people watch? What do they watch that they like the most?
Yes. Gossiping,
like the Kardashians, or the magazines, you know, People magazine, or in Brazil, Caras, or whatever. Why? Because they are interested in something cultural, or they are interested in knowing how, I mean, powerful people, they think they're powerful, at least, or they see themselves as powerful.
So the media says, what gives audience? Ibope, né? What attracts people the most? And this reveals our intentions, our interests. So you turn on the TV and what are you looking? Disaster, deaths. Do you imagine if this was the other way around? If our major channels, TV channels, started to show these dramatic negative information, if people stopped to watch TV or read these newspapers, of course these channels would understand, this gives no ibope. I have nobody's watching, nobody's reading. I have to change these the headlines, I have to change the articles. But then people don't like these stuff. People don't relate themselves with the good, with the beautiful, and the true. They want to see drama. They want to see pathology. They think this is nice. This is what matters. So this is a good example, Pérsio, that you brought. Because behind this, you start to question yourselves, this is what attracts me the most. These kinds of information. And to see what people are doing good around the world, this is not really interesting. Or this makes no difference. So this is inversion again. This is another kind of inversion.
Yeah, and this is the idea, and that we admire. So there are those people that are in power today, and they are making the society the way it is, and we are living in a society because of them. But at the same time, we admire them. We see them as good. And we think that what they do to us is the best. So that's a very strange feeling we have, because we are not satisfied, we are not happy, but at the same time we think that this is the best that can be given to us. And if we are not satisfied, it's because we are not like them. Because if we were like them, then we would be happy.
Yes. Trying to see, so we see, if we do the same things, right? If we would be in power, in that same situation, we would do the same things, right? We would accomplish our dreams, and this dream is inverted. And what power, the thing is, it's not that power corrupts people. So some people say, everybody, like the majority of the people, when they reach power or they become someone powerful, then they start to be corrupt. But that's not really very scientific, and it's not so true. Is that power gives, let's say, freedom, and power gives the means for that person to accomplish his own will, sua própria vontade, né? His own intentions. So the power allows this to happen. So it's not that the power corrupts The corruption, it was there before the power, but it allows to manifest itself. So the people think, if I have the power, I would do the same things. So they have this bad intention that they don't know of, but they should conscientize. Okay, so do you think we move on to the next? This is also from Liberation of the People, the Pathology of Power. Still that, an examination of power. So let's read this. It is a period in which all of the circumstances are favorable for us to finally build a true civilization. Society, as it is organized today, is inhuman. The people are ill, anguished, and unhappy because they feel crushed by the powerful. Moreover, we know that we are not born to suffer. Present-day society is truly a hell, not a part of the Creator's plan. Indeed, the demons, the diabolical individuals, have taken command of our social life. Wow. This is exactly what we are talking about, feeling dissatisfied. Dr. Keppe mentions here very clearly, we are anguished, we are unhappy, we are ill. Why? Because we feel crushed by the powerful. We feel crushed by the amount of laws and regulations and things that we have to do in order to survive. We are always doing things, we are always having to protect ourselves to survive. It's like we are fighting against society to be able to survive.
And why? Because, as he said, the diabolical individuals have taken command of our social life. So we live the life that they are giving us right now, and which is not at all, a creator's plan, because the society that we should live is completely different from the society that we're living today.
So people, they know, like Dr. Keppe is explaining here, we in our nature, we in our essence, we are born not to suffer. We are born to be happy. We are not, so this, if you think that you were born to suffer, maybe because of a religious background that has probably also in an inverted way think that we were created to suffer, well, think again, because this is not the Creator's plan, right? So this idea that the people were born to suffer and a few individuals live to be happy and to hold the power to get everything in a very smart way, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. So we are not meant to be unhappy. We are meant to feel happy, and prosperity is supposed to be at the reach of everyone. So we have to conscientize this, that we are not meant to suffer. We are not supposed to be, let's say, commanded, these people in command. So we are obedient to powers, to individuals, to laws that are not thinking about us at all. So I'm going to give an example, Pérsio. Of course, we don't want to have an open polemic debate of what is happening today with the virus, but a lot of people now, especially, let's say the middle class and the lower classes, are having to struggle to survive, to pay their bills. It's like in a way, there is this structure in society that because of the virus is making us stop, is obliging us not to work, or work in specific conditions. So it seems like we have to struggle to survive. We have to struggle to fight our survival. But it was not supposed to be this way. It is this way because we all have an inverted way. The structure is inverted. So this dissatisfaction, this unhappiness that we feel is because society is not providing us with the right tools or the right laws that makes us, that gives us the possibility of finding our happiness, or let's say to live in harmony with the people. And what happened in the United States now with the social struggle there, the division. I don't know if you're following with the question of, what's his name, Powell? John, is African American? So there was this problem. Remember, he was killed by these white cops. And society is just divided. It is manifested.
Floyd. John, it's Floyd.
It's Floyd, yeah. So it's only manifesting this division. But who creates this division? The people? Do you really think that the people are behind this division? Or society, the laws, the pathology of power?
And also we have this, we see in society, everybody talks about criminality and violence, and many people, like before coronavirus at least, they were thinking about moving, you know, from Brazil to other countries that are not less violent than Brazil, etc. But if we live in a violent society, if we need to put people in prison, if there are people stealing here and there and violent here and there, it's because there is a big pathology behind. Because if we lived in a sane society or fair society, people would not have to do that. So, okay, there will always be violence, there will always be people trying to steal from other people, but it would be much less than it is today, because people will be happy with what they have. And today they don't feel happy, they don't feel satisfied, and so this is a consequence of this society.
But have you ever thought about this question? How society, the impact of society in everyday lives? Or you think that most of the problems, where do they come from, these problems? Because of your friends, because of your family? I believe, I think Pérsio also believes, that the main question today resides in the social economic structure, the question of money. And this has taken over civilization. So all of this idea of economy and money, you need money to do things. This is very important. But who holds the key of money? I mean, who controls this? And so we have to beg to have proper jobs. Do we have to beg? For example, Brazil is one of the richest nations in the world. Should our citizens beg? For what? If we are so rich, what? Do you think that they really want to share wealth? Or they have a different idea of who should hold, right, the power or the key to the vault? So the people should have access. And this is the main problem of our illnesses, and people go to drugstores to buy these drugs and pharmaceutical medications, to try to relieve their symptoms of the pressure they are living every day of their lives, because they have to abide these laws, to abide these sick structure that has been created for us. So I think that it's kind of very difficult to be happy or satisfied. You have to be very strong. You need a very strong individual structure. But that's the opposite idea. You need a strong society to help the individual to be stronger. So what we are doing is the individual has to be stronger with a stronger emotional structure to cope, to deal with the problems that society is giving us, it's causing us. So I think it's very clear why we are unhappy and dissatisfied.
We should maybe
go on reading.
Yeah,
right?
go on reading, because
we are running out of time. So the demons wanted to establish their own kingdom, and they closed human beings to be their slaves. They gave power to a few hundred of their serfs who were obedient to their wishes and created their kingdom on earth. That is why Christ referred to them as the princes of this world. We must be suspicious of any person who desires power, because the wish for power is extremely pathological. It is the desire of demons and demonized human beings to take for themselves the power that pertains only to God. In my opinion, this is original sin itself. There is only one kind of power, and that is the power of the Creator, which He uses for the purpose of creating, of realizing that which is real, or better, that which is good, true, and beautiful. Any other attitude than this is aimed at impeding the realization of good on the face of the earth.
It's interesting that if you know anything about Judaism and about the old scriptures, you would see that when God gave the Ten Commandments to Moses, and when he was giving advice, and he had the prophets and people that were counseling the Jews, and it was all fine. And then until the Jews decided that they wanted a king, because all the other people had kings. Why they didn't have a king? And then gets God, do you really want a king? Do you know what it is? I mean, do you know what you're going to suffer, the consequences?
So right there, Pérsio, they wanted this idea of power, right?
Exactly.
So they manifested their own intentions. I say, we want a king, because the king is the symbol of power, right? So it goes all the way back. So they wanted a king, and what did God say?
No, he said, are you sure you really want? Because you're going to suffer the consequence. Because, any person that wants power, and if you put someone in power, and like little by little, he will, crash the people that are below them.
He starts to see the possibility of accomplishing his desires, his whims, his wishes. So God said, are you sure you want a king? Isn't it easier and better if you just obey me? I am your king, let's say. You don't need a king. We have this bond, this direct contact. Why do you want to put somebody in the middle? Why do you want to put a king? That's a good question.
Because they admire power, people with power, and as the kings that are there, they would like to be like them.
Yes.
They don't have this possibility.
It's like a symbol, like an icon. We have a king to look up to, because we want to be a king, right? Because it was God. There is God already, so you don't need a king. So why are you creating this king? if you don't want to be a king, of course you want to be a king. You want to be ruled by a king because you think this is the best thing. You give a lot of value to power. We give a lot of value to power.
And it's interesting that in the Bible, by that, they said that, okay, if you're going to have one king or someone that will like control you, he should be there only for a year, not more than a year, because you know the first year the person thinks about the other people. Then little by little he starts to think about himself and his power.
How to continue in power.
The more he stays in power, the more he crushes people, the more he he steps on everybody, and he transforms the society into a hell.
So what Dr. Keppe is saying here is that power in itself is a problem. Because you wouldn't need power. Naturally, you wouldn't need power. So why do you need power if it is not to impose something? Right? Because God is, he didn't impose anything. He just said, this is the way reality is. This is reality, which is good, beautiful, and true. It's not imposed. This is reality. This is where you live. So if you need power to impose something, it mustn't be natural.
And it's not good, because if it's good, you don't have to impose.
Yes, you don't have to impose because God has created everything the way it is, because this is the right way. So what we are saying here, Dr. Keppe is saying here in his book, is that power itself, this is what you should question. Why do you need power? Why do you need authority? To impose what? So, it's artificial. Power is artificial. It's not natural. Do you think we should go on? Or
yeah. So
on to the next? So do you want to read now?
I can read, okay. Some people may find it strange that we are attacking only the powerful, thinking that there are other individuals who also cause many problems. Our reply is that the power these very sick individuals have acquired, which enables them to keep the people in continuous state of tension and hardship, represents a menace to humankind. Another objection that might be raised is that everyone who attains power becomes pathological. Indeed, that is why we recognize the need for all human beings to be guided by trilogically analyzed groups of people, that is, groups whose members are aware of their difficulties and faults.
So in one hand, Dr. Keppe is explaining that the problem is mainly focused in the power itself, and he shows a solution, a way to deal with that. And he says here, we have to be aware of our difficulties and faults. This idea that the science of analytical trilogy, what Dr. Keppe is teaching us, is to conscientize this inversion, to conscientize this part of our difficulties. Right, Pérsio?
Because, what's the solution? He says, we should see that, for example, if a person is in power, if he sees that he loves power, and he loves power not for the good of humanity or the good of the others, but he loves power because he wants to
be powerful,
and do what he wants. Doesn't have to
make a lot of money.
Make a lot of money. Doesn't have to report to anybody. He would do what he wants to do.
His narcissism, selfish, egocentric attitude of his idea of power, right?
If he knows that, then he would control that and he would not do so much harm. But the problem is that once a person is in power, he starts to do whatever he wants, and there is no control. Nobody controls, nobody sees anything, nobody sees what is happening, and that's it.
And also, this is something that we have to deal with. It's difficult, the idea to eliminate power. Oh, let's eliminate everyone, because that's not possible. So we have to deal with this. We have to conscientize. We have to learn how to see our problems, this thing inside of us. Because we cannot get rid of this. But if we do work with this, if we are aware of our weaknesses, we do what, like Pérsio was saying, we start to rethink, think it over. Is it really what the people need? Is it really what country needs? Or I'm thinking only about my interests? So this is very typical of our politicians. When you all become a politician, you have to be always double checking our own intentions. In their case, their intentions. Because after a while, they seem to be so alienated from the reality of the nation, like inside of a bubble, that they only think of themselves.
And this is what happened. Most of the revolutions were because of this. Like in France, the French Revolution it happened because the king was so much alienated from the people that he didn't even know that people were starving. He thought, oh, I have everything.
Oh, the people, they are hindering me. The nation is a problem to the king, right? Oh, so what are you doing?
That's why they did the French Revolution. They were starving and nobody was paying attention to them.
So the idea is that the powerful people think that the people are there to serve him, not he serve the people. The people should work for, let's say, for the king, for the state. But he said, the state, l'État, c'est moi. Right? The state, I am the state. So people should work for me.
And should do what I want.
What I want, because I'm the law.
Yeah. And this is the most important, because Dr. Keppe talked about the inversion. And we have this idea that what we want is good. But he shows that because of the inversion, what we want most of the time is not good. But we cannot do what we want because we have certain restrictions. We don't have power, we don't have money, we are submitted to certain difficulties and situations of life, so we are not able to to put all our will outside. But when you have money, when you have power, nobody controls you, and you can do whatever you want, that's when
you see disasters.
Yeah, you see disasters, because then you do everything that is wrong because it's what you really, because of the inversion, that's what you want.
So you have the examples of people that, these extreme examples, like Hitler, or like Stalin, or these dictators. What did they believe? They believed that the people should be eliminated. Certain kinds of people should be eliminated. Why? To build a new man. This new man, according to their idea of what is to be the new man, he decides like a god. I am going to rebuild civilization. I'm going to recreate man. So theomaniac. These people are so alienated that the power gives them the possibility of doing those terrible things they did, but they were against the people. They were never allied to the people. They killed millions and millions of people because they thought they were enemies. So how pathological is that?
And Margaret is saying the big problem is to change the system. Yes, we should change this, but we should make, like we were talking the other lectures, we should make laws that control the pathology of people, control the pathology of power, that don't allow people to do what they want. That, for example, as I said, a person should be in power maximum of 1 year, 2 years, and then he cannot go back. Someone else has to be there. He cannot be re-elected. So there should be ways to control the power. Then people, even the person that is in power, will feel better. So because when we do what is it's against the others, it's against ourselves too.
So what you're saying, we should control not the people. We should control the power.
Exactly.
We should control those in power, not the power control the people. Because the problems come from up above, from the government, from society. But everything is inverted. So we believe that the problems of the nation are coming from down below, from here, let's say from us, from we human beings, and not from those people who put themselves up above in power. So the human beings are actually suffering because of the social structure and the people in power. So the laws should not focus the people, but mainly to keep the balance, to avoid people in power to destroy the nations.
And even to help them, because when they're able to do whatever they want, they don't feel good either. They might have a pleasure, like instant pleasure, but on the long run, they will feel bad. And people will feel bad. And all the society will feel bad because there is a wrong thing going on.
So
we
have about 5 minutes left. And this is the next slide. A profile of the powerful. Did we read this already? No. No, I didn't read this.
So some people may find it strange that we are attacking only the powerful.
No, we have read this.
Yeah, we read this one, yeah.
Yeah, this one now.
No, in fact, no one who is conscious of his theomania, megalomania, narcissism, will ever endanger mankind. Never could a Hitler, a Mussolini, a Stalin, or many others of similar kind we know of, attain power if they lived in a conscientized society, one in which each member is made aware of his personal shortcomings. One of the Judeo-Christian commandments, the 9th, tells us that we must not covet what belongs to others. Nevertheless, society relates this sin to the people, not to those individuals who have property, as though the latter were specially privileged beings with the right to do anything they desire. It is expedient to understand why some individuals are so interested in gaining public office, the presidency, governorship, mayor. One of the first conclusions that occurs to me is that they want to indulge their theomania, their desire to be a little god. A second is that they want to help their group exploit the country. That's exactly what we were discussing.
We were discussing a few minutes ago this question of the powerful and their desire to do what is evil and the need to conscientize them. So maybe we can. Is this the last one? No.
No.
I don't think
it's okay.
I don't
it's
think
okay.
we're going to cover
problem.
it.
We are not.
Yeah, we have maybe other opportunities to finish this subject, which is very, very interesting. We have other people asking questions, Pérsio. Let's see.
No, to say that Evelyn says that change law doesn't change the reality. We must return to our nature. Yes, but we should have some sort of control. because if we don't have a control, we will go back to the mistake, and we are going to make the same mistakes we
So
we
it's
made
not
before.
the question of change law, it's to go back to the original law, right?
And
Of course,
control the
we
pathology,
have too
because-
many laws. We have too many laws. So it's not changing laws. It's undoing what we have done. They are unnecessary and which is harmful, because we have a few laws. The more laws we create, the more problems we have. So I agree, we should not change the laws. In my opinion, we should have fewer laws, or go back to the previous laws that existed already.
No, and the laws should be only there to control the pathology, because the problem is that when we are individuals, we can go to psychoanalysis to help us know our pathology and control our pathology and feel better. But in the society as a whole, the laws are like the psychoanalysis. It's like a way for you to know what you can do, what you can't do, and in this way you control our pathology and the pathology of society. So the laws are there too as a form of control, because we are not aware. So the laws are there to help us be more aware of what is happening, and punish if we do something that we shouldn't, because we are not aware of it.
All right then, we have come to, we ran out of time. It's 12 o'clock and we must end our lecture, nossa live de hoje. Eu gostaria de agradecer a todos, like to thank everyone, and see you another opportunity, maybe next week, or I would like to say we are going to have a course, né, Pérsio? Nós vamos dar um curso. Não sei se vocês têm conhecimento desse curso. O curso é relativamente essa área legal, para as pessoas que têm interesse nesse...
Legal English.
Chama Legal English. Né? Nós vamos abordar também assuntos neste curso, em outros cursos, sobre a patologia do poder, a inversão, as leis. Eu acho que talvez seja muito oportuno para quem tem interesse, quem quer também. Esse curso vai ser dado em inglês e português. Vocês podem fazer a matrícula se vocês quiserem.
We thank you. Obrigado.
Thank you so much and have a great week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.